I'd like to call to order the Norristown Municipality Council Work Session of Tuesday, February 17, 2026. May I have a moment of silence and a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pen. Madam Secretary, can we have a roll call, please?
Mia McCoy.
Present.
Peter Robinson.
Present.
Natalie Colson.
Here.
Jasmine Griffin.
Here.
David McMahon. Here. Dustin Queenan.
Here.
Todd Bates.
Here. Council, can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
I guess all in favor? Thank you. Motion passed. All right, executive session. Today, we had an executive session on personnel litigation. Also, on February 4th, February 5th, and February 9th, we also had executive sessions over the phone, and they were due to personnel matters. Okay, thank you. Vice President Queenan, do you have any announcements?
How everybody doing? Glad to be back, but I did enjoy my vacation. For anybody who needs a translator, I see Lucy back there today. You can ask Lucy if you need a translator. Selfishly, the only announcement I particularly have is on Monday, February 23rd, I'm going to have my second annual Cupcakes with Councilman Queenan at our library, which is located at 700 Markley, Suite 116.
Council, any other announcements?
Yes.
Councilman McCoy.
Good evening. This Sunday, I have my second annual Black-owned Business Expo at the George Washington Carver Center. It will be from 3 p.m. until 7 p.m. All local Black businesses coming together, and you can support them by buying the items that they sell. In addition to that, just getting their information. You can exchange business cards so that you can have them at your future events. And it's going to be a great event. Nice music, good food, and Black History celebration.
Thank you. Councilwoman Robinson, pardon me.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. I just wanted to, again, highlight XOXO Monco's Variety Show that is on stage now at Theater Horizon in Norristown. This particular show highlights community members. The stars are featured from the Montgomery County area, and particularly from the Norristown area. I won't call them out, but some of the stars of that show are in the room tonight. So if you want to see them in a whole new way and see the gifts and the talents that exist in this community, I invite you to please join us for XOXO Monco's Variety Show at Theater Horizon in Norristown. This weekend is the closing weekend, so we will have shows on Thursday through Sunday. If for any reason a ticket is not something that's within your budget, please reach out to me. We'd love to have you as our special guest. But I often think Norristown gets a bad rep. We get different kind of headlines. We get a lot of different stories. I hope that we also can be in the room and be present for some of the beautiful things that happen and all the ways that our community shows up in their greatness. So I hope to see you there, and I hope that you are getting your chops ready and are prepared to be in the show next time. I'm looking at all y'all. Thank you.
Council, any other? Councilman McMahon.
I just wanted to announce I'll be having my next town hall March 5th. I am attempting to set up for the library again, but the actual location is TBD, but it will be the continuing series, the first Thursday after the first council meeting of the month.
Okay, and Councilwoman Griffin.
I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for attending my first town hall. It was a great event with great communication and partnership. In the room, there was a lot of information provided to the community, including committee vacancies. If you have any questions about that, please contact any of us, or please contact Municipal Administrator Leitner, and they can give you the information regarding that and the application. I also wanted to say thank you to the council members that were able to make it. It was wonderful for all of us to be able to lean on each other. There was lots of information I didn't know, so it was great to be able to lean on them for the information that they were aware of. And I want to thank Chief Trail and the municipality for their assistance in getting the information, as well as the fire department for bringing lots of information, especially surrounding smoke detectors and how to get those. And thank you also to planning for coming out and explaining the economic development plan, but also showing it through the website and showing people just how to access the website as well. And thank you everyone that came out and they were engaged. And I also wanted to give a shout out to the Vance Center. I was able to go last week. My mother was able to go this week. But they have a lot going on, podcasts, drone certification. I'm sure there's a couple more missing. I remember there was music as well. So, what was it? Art and photography, thank you. So yes, please, if you can get down to the Vance Center, that'd be great. It is on Cherry Street. What's the address? 214. 214 Cherry. Okay, yes. Mondays 5 to 7.
Okay. And, go ahead, Councilwoman Colson.
And I also just want to extend my condolences to the Scott and West family on the loss of their loved one, Larry West Jr. And also the entire Mount Zion Church. I know this is very hard for the community, so I just wanted to extend my condolences to their family. So.
Yes. Norristown lost a champion there, so thank you. That's all the announcements? Administrator Leonard, responses to questions from the last meeting.
There are no questions at this time.
All right, thank you. On to public comments.
Eric Johns.
Good evening.
Good evening.
First, I want to thank council, Norristown, and also the chief, which I said, for taking action quickly with what happened. The room was filled with a lot of people coming, want to answer, but now the room is empty when we're looking for a solution. And that's a problem within Norristown. Also, I told these fellas to come here because we've been looking for a spot in Norristown to build, and the spot is already here. It's already here. The Van Center, which I participated in yesterday, T, who always is instrumental in bringing the kids together and brought them to this facility. I watched 6 kids that I've been mentoring throughout the years get their certificate yesterday to become certified drones. What is it? Drones? Yeah. All right, yeah, the recreational service, I mean. So the things are here. How do we make it better? How do we come together and make it better within the town? And these fellows have the building here already. How do we come together and make things happen? So I think Councilwoman just spoke about it. She was there. I think somebody else wasn't there. Another council member, yeah, McMahon, wasn't there also. So, I mean, let's get the work done. I mean, there's a lot of work to be done, and there's a lot of possibility here. So let's get the work done.
Thank you.
Sarita Mayo.
Good evening, Council. Just piggyback it off real fast. Yes, I do like to thank Chief Trell for all his quick understanding on the situation, but I also got some feedback also from the meeting the other night, and I watched it via Zoom. It was a lot of people that wasn't happy when they left this room. They didn't get a lot of time to speak. They felt like they were shut down. They felt like they didn't get to talk. Mics was cut off on people. They felt like Councilman President Bates, I talked to you about this already, that he was very unprofessional with the situation. We just got to address that a little better. Let people in the room feel like they're in the room. The comments wasn't supposed to be the way they was. It was actually supposed to be an open mic situation, and people felt like they didn't get and express what they wanted to say. So we have to stop shutting people off, because people have a lot to say about this community and what's going on, not just this incident, but other incidents that have happened. But when you cut people down and limit them to the 1 minute, it's hard for them to really express themselves. So then guess what? The room becomes empty again and people become quiet and nothing gets solved. Second of all, I do want to thank everybody. I'd like to thank Mr. J and Mr. Vance tonight for coming down. And I'd like to thank Madeira. The play was awesome, and I was able to get Mr. Vance and them to come along, and we're going to try to come about 20, 25 of us on Friday night at 7:30. So I'm going to get with you after council meeting. Also, Jasmine, wonderful town hall, very, very expressive. It was really good atmosphere in the room. I wasn't feeling too good, but you definitely did your thing, and I really appreciate you for that. And also just to say this, that the Vance Center is growing each and every week. People are knowing via social media. We have stations. We did really well yesterday. We had about 4 or 5 stations running. Hakeem Jones and Mr. J is downstairs doing the drone certifications. We had a table with business with kids getting set up for LLCs. Mr. Vance's son, he has his own art studio. He had a table of kids. The youngest was 4 at the table, autistic, to 20 years old at the table learning art. They loved it. Upstairs is Mr. Ben. He has the photography and podcast. And then Mr. Brad is the one that does the music room where the kids can learn different orchestra and things like that. But the Vance Center is just not for kids. Mr. Vance is also there to certify, and Mr. J, he's a professor to certify adults also. And also the good thing is he has private eye detective. If you want to become, he can certify you in that also. So just to get to the Vance Center, 214 Cherry Street, 216 Cherry Street, 212 Cherry Street. Thank you.
Thank you.
But Tari, before you go, I just want to say, because I wasn't here, I want to thank you, Trail, thank you, the community, and also I want to say I want to thank the council. We appreciate your feedback and the community's feedback, because we could talk all the time, and when we make missteps in your eyes, let us know so we can proof upon it. Because this council has made a dedicated effort and a promise to try to bridge that gap. You as a leadership, and Vance, I know you've been here for a while. We appreciate you, what you're doing as well. We definitely invite feedback, and we definitely will act on it. So I want to let you know I appreciate you, Mr. Vance, the council appreciates you, and the community. So thank you.
Moving on to Municipal Administrator. Motion to approve the settlement for pending tax assessment appeal for 409 West Marshall Street.
I'll turn it over to the solicitor.
All right, Patrick.
Good evening, Mr. President. Good evening, Council. So on your agenda tonight, you actually have 3 motions to approve 3 different settlement tax assessment appeals. They're for 409 West Marshall, 413 West Marshall, and 417 West Marshall. The reason I'm mentioning them all collectively is because they were all purchased collectively, and they're all next to each other. So it's essentially a property that is a commercial multi-use space. Then the next one is the parking lot, and the next one is another building with multi-use commercial space. So really, you look at them holistically as opposed to individually, although I need you to motion individually because they're separate settlement agreements. But the background is as a tax assessment appeal, the school district typically takes the lead. This is actually an appeal where the school district was looking to increase the value of the assessment as opposed to decrease the value of assessment, which is good for council. Here, this property appears to have been purchased in 2023 for $1.6 million collectively. When I did the math based off of the information that was provided to us, the fair market value in 2025 was about $1.108 million. So the school district was able to negotiate an increased assessment that would result in a fair market value of approximately $1.35 million. So getting us closer to what their actual purchase price was. The school district has already signed off on it. The next step in the process is to have you guys approve it and sign off on it. And then once you do, we send it up to the court blesses it, and then they have to pay back taxes, and then going forward, they will pay on the increased assessment amount.
Council, any questions? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the settlement for the pending tax assessment appeal of 409 West Marshall Street?
So move.
Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Green McCoy,
Aye.
Kira Robinson,
Aye.
Ally Colson,
Aye.
Jasmine Griffin, David McMahon, Dustin Queenan,
Aye.
Rashad Bates.
Aye. The ayes have it. Moving on, council, do I have a motion to approve the settlement for pending tax assessment appeal for 413 West Marshall Street?
So move.
Second.
Madam Secretary.
Green McCoy,
Aye.
Vera Robinson.
Aye.
Natalie Colson.
Aye.
Jasmine Griffin. Aye. David McMahon. Dustin Queenan.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. And council, again, motion to approve the settlement for the pending tax assessment appeal for 417 West Marshall Street.
So moved.
Second.
Madam Secretary.
William McCoy.
Aye.
Vera Robinson.
Aye.
Natalie Colson.
Aye.
Jasmine Griffin. Aye. David McMahon. Dustin Queenan.
Aye.
Rashad Bates.
Aye, the ayes have it.
Thank you, council.
Thank you. Moving on to police. Resolution 2615, request for municipal council to approve, municipal council approval to promote a corporal to sergeant. Chief Trail.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of council. Due to some personnel changes and a recent retirement resignation, we have a vacancy within our patrol unit for a sergeant. Sergeants are the supervisors of our patrol squads, and as a result, we need to fill that. On the 14th of January of this year, the Norristown Civil Service Commission certified a list of eligible candidates who are currently corporal, who could be promoted to the position of sergeant. They are Corporal Wiley, Corporal Gergel, and Corporal Stowell. Based on my review of the performance, it is my recommendation that we promote Corporal Matthew Wiley to the position of sergeant for the Norristown Police Department.
Council, any questions? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2615 of promotion from corporal to sergeant for Wiley? What's that? Oh, sure, you want to ask one? Can you please elaborate more on the promotion from corporal to sergeant for us, please?
Sure. So
Thank you.
the way you structure your police department is you have patrol officers, and in the first level of supervision are corporals. There are 2 corporals assigned to each platoon, or 4 platoons. Each platoon is led by a sergeant. So you have 4 patrol sergeants. And there is language in the collective bargaining agreement that requires us to have a certain level of supervision on each platoon when they work. Therefore, with the removal of a sergeant last 2 weeks ago now, we have that open sergeant position, so we're filling that position. It's a budgeted position, it's not, and it doesn't impact the budget in any way, and it just makes sure that we're having the proper level of supervision on the street for the police officers.
Thank you. Council, any questions? All right. Seeing none, do I have a motion to, do I have a motion to pass Resolution 2615 to request municipal council approval for promotion from corporal to sergeant?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Secretary.
William McCoy.
Aye.
Vera Robinson.
Aye.
Natalie Colson.
Aye.
Jasmine Griffin. Aye. David McMahon.
Aye.
Dustin Queenan.
Aye.
Rashad Bates.
Aye, the ayes have it. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to Planning and Municipal Development. Ordinance 2601, requesting authorization to advertise Ordinance 2601 for amusement device amendment. Hello, Jane.
Good evening, council members. Thank you. Before you this evening, we are requesting authorization to advertise the amusement device amendment. I'll just go through a little history of this item so you'll know why we're back before you. Pennsylvania skill games and slot machine games are allowed to be owned and operated in commercial buildings. And I believe there was a recent law that actually, I think our solicitor will be able to speak on that a little further. But anyway, it allowed us, the skill games, to be allowed in the zoning districts. So we came before council and asked council to adopt an ordinance, which was in Ordinance 23-06, which allowed uses of the skill games in various zoning districts. We asked council to approve, and actually there was a planner who actually came and did a study on it and made recommendations, and council actually approved it. But then we had allowed these uses to be in the Main Street Mixed Use District, Neighborhood Commercial District, Downtown Riverfront District, Town Center District, Town Center 2 District, and LMI, which LIMU, which is the Limited Industrial Mixed Use District. We also had asked that the use be allowed as an accessory use as long as the property was used as a commercial, so you would have it in residential per se. After we had that adopted in 2023, there was the proliferation of these uses all over the municipality, and the community as well as council reacted negatively towards that and said, we need to contain this use. So we brought back the use and reviewed it as professionals, and we are back to try and basically give a recommendation to council members where we think it'll be more restrictive, so that we are now recommending this use only be allowed in the commercial retail district. And even then, the accessory uses will still be the same, and that is only to be permitted in commercial districts. But this way, you won't have these uses all over the municipality. I do believe council had, some council members, and most of you are new to council, had an opportunity to meet with some of the staff members and the solicitor, and then we came up with this solution, and that's why we're here tonight asking you to approve this. I must add that Chief Trail also had an interest in this use, because he feels and he believes that it's become a little bit of a nuisance, if you will, people hanging out in stores and all that, so we need to address it. And by us addressing it is by limiting it to the commercial retail district and only permitted by conditional use. Meaning if someone wants to put in now this type of use, they would have to come before you as council, and council would approve and would have to advertise in all the appropriate manners before we'd say yes to that. But meanwhile, keep in mind that the ones that already were approved under the 2023, for lack of a better word, grandfathered until that use goes away. It becomes a legal non-conforming use. Is there anything you'd like to add, Solicitor?
I would just add, Jane, that to be clear, this is with regard to it being a primary use. When council had previously adopted it, there were essentially a primary use and accessory use. There are some conditions associated with each, but I think the brightest line is a primary use is when you've got 4 or more devices. An accessory use is less than 4. So the idea would be is if you've got a corner store and you've got 1 device there, this isn't going to impact you. But if you've got a corner store and you want to have an entire bank of them, this is a problem, and you would not be allowed to do it anymore if you were in one of the districts that, per the ordinance, it's going to remove it as a permitted primary use. So it's really trying to impact the primary uses. We're still trying to provide a reasonable accommodation or reasonable ability for those who want to use it to be able to do it. I don't want there to be a misperception out there that we are trying to prohibit it in the municipality. That would be against the law. If it's a legal use, you have to provide for it somewhere within the jurisdiction.
And if I may, just to let council know, there are provisions or standards for having this, which I shall read so that you are aware of it. So for instance, one cannot just bring the machines and plug them into a store and you go to that. You need to have a permit, of course. And some of the standards that have been set is this, it can, let me see, it requires a 1,000-foot separation from schools, childcare facilities, parks, religious institutions, hospitals, and similar child-oriented uses. It also requires the minimum for primary use, a 1,000-foot separation from another arcade or amusement device. If you notice this, sometimes you go to some of these stores and you'll notice that they have pushed maybe 4 or 5 machines in some corner as accessory. These standards are actually set so that you have to manage that. So instead of trying to jam 6, you'd have our zoning enforcement and code basically go and measure where these machines can be. So it limits how many you can have if it is permitted. Any questions?
Council, any questions? Councilwoman Griffin?
Councilman McCoy and I were wondering, because we see there's a limit on the hours of operation. So what about because I know you said like certain stores or certain places can have them. How, if the store's like open later than the time that it's saying, how will that like be monitored or impact or?
So that would be a violation. The hours for operation would be between 10 a.m. and 11 p.m.
So they have to stop.
Yes,
Oh.
otherwise you'll be violating this ordinance.
But like, who would monitor that? Like, how would that be?
So, that's an excellent question. So, with various ways to monitor this, and that is the police are out there and they're very keen on making sure that this is enforced. We have our code enforcement officers who are going about their own business during the day, maybe looking for other issues, and then they see these violations, they'll report that to us. And we also have a zoning enforcement officer who, when we get a complaint, he will go there and he'll look at it and he'll measure, do whatever he needs to do. And usually we all work in tandem, the police, code enforcement, and the planning department.
So basically, if we see a store operating after hours, we call it a non-emergency number.
Yes. Sure.
So Jane's right. I spoke with Jane a couple weeks ago about this. And to narrowly comment, the officers who go out to disturbances in our stores and in our carryouts or in bodegas where we're seeing a lot of these machines which are actually driving the people to that location, they're gonna go out there, they're gonna monitor it. And if it's after hours, let's say it's midnight and there's 10 machines in here and we know that people are gambling, are using the machines, they're gonna write a report, we're gonna forward it over to code enforcement. Next day, code's gonna send the folks out to do an investigation and they can issue the citations.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Thank you. I thought that was a really good question. I had a follow-up on it because I just want to make sure that I'm understanding correctly about the business hours of the allotted time. Does that mean that those become the business hours of the business, or do they become the business hours of the machines?
So if I can help out here.
Yes.
Keep in mind, we're talking about it as a primary use. So theoretically, it would be the business hours of the operation if it is its primary use. So if I open up sorry, there's a lot of reverberation. If I open up a store or in a location that all I have are just banks of these machines, which I could do in the CR commercial district by conditional use, that would mean that coming in, I would have to present to you, my hours of operation will not exceed the time frame that's in there as a primary use. As an accessory use, that's a different story. But again, if you're thinking about it, and this is what we were trying to capture the last time with the planner, is accessory use is of a different nature than as a primary use. I don't know, and the chief could probably speak to how many times he's getting called out to a place that only has one. I think the concern here is the place that has just banks of these machines. We're talking 7, 8, 10 machines. In fact, correct me if I'm wrong, Jane, we had an application come in where all they wanted was just essentially, we won't call it a gaming parlor because the law says that these are games of skill, not games of chance. But essentially, that's how a lot of people see this. It's like you're creating like a mini casino with them. And that's what we're trying to address is the concern of it being a mini casino. Does that help answer your question?
That does help, but in some ways it just creates a little bit of a gray area that I'm trying to work through personally in the sense of if primary use is defined by 4 or less, or accessory is 4 or less,
Yep.
primary is 4 or more. Let's say I own a pizza shop, I get 5 machines. What are my hours of operation?
Well, first of all, you might have a problem because you might not be allowed to have 2 primary uses at your location.
Okay.
So you might have issue number 1, which is you can't have both a pizza shop and a primary use of the games of skill. Assuming that you are allowed that, let's assume hypothetically, then the response from the zoning office would be your games of skill need to be shut down at this time.
Correct.
You can keep operating your pizza store, but you got to shut down the games of skill.
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify because those do exist, right? There are, I'm not calling out anybody, but there are facilities that have a use. You can go in and get this, but there are also 4 or 5 machines in there
Yeah,
as
they
well.
try to morph as they go along. What we noticed is, yes, they'll start off as an accessory, and if you don't keep an eye, they'll slide in 1 or 2 more. But as zoning officer, I can send the zoning enforcement officer to say you're in violation of the zoning ordinance, and the police or code can also inform us, and we can follow up on that.
Thank you.
Are we monitoring those pizza shops or places to make sure that they are not sliding another machine in or two? Are we doing that, or is that only if there's a complaint filed?
It's not only a complaint, it's actually, I must say, the police have been pretty active.
Okay.
They've been very active in letting us know. But that's something in the course of a code enforcement officer's duty, or the police officers when they're out there, because we're only one zoning enforcement person. But the combination of us, we always get either a complaint or we're told, hey, there's something going on over here. Then we follow up with a letter of violation.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
One more question.
Councilman McCoy.
Do we have a number of how many businesses utilize these devices as a primary use?
At the moment, I don't, but it's something I can get for you.
Okay, definitely. Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve ordinance 2601 and the amusement device amendment?
So moved.
Just to be clear, when you say motion to approve, you mean motion to approve advertising?
Oh, thank you. I will repeat that again. Motion to approve the advertisement of ordinance 2601 for the amusement device amendment.
So moved.
Second.
Madam Secretary.
Wayne McCoy.
Aye.
Vera Robinson.
Aye.
Natalie Colson.
Aye.
Jasmine Griffin. David McMahon. Dustin Queenan.
Aye.
Rashad Bates.
Aye, the ayes have it.
Thank you. Council President, if I may,
Yes.
I had someone who was to present the window sign. He's not here yet. Can we?
You just got here.
He just got here? Oh, yeah, he did. Right on time. It's okay. So, just to make this a little more entertaining than me lecturing you on zoning matters, we do have this request to also authorize ordinance 26-02 window signage amendment. Again, for the council members who are not aware of the history of this item, we noticed over the years that signage, even though we regulate it, it's out of hand. It does two things. First of all, and it's aesthetically not the best look for town, but secondly, and most importantly, it's a safety issue. Again, we were working closely with the police department. The police department is concerned that they're not able to look into businesses and see what's going on if the windows are completely black out, if you will, for lack of a better word. The signage everywhere, there's no sight. You can't see what's going on. So the police brought this to our attention. We understood that, and it's actually in violation of our current zoning ordinance. So we've sent out letters, and we've followed through. People will remove them for a month or two, and before you know it, they will put it right back. So we realized this is really an educational issue as well. It's a little bit of a cultural issue in the sense that there are folk who don't know that for us to manage signs is for those very reasons, aesthetics as well as safety, but mostly safety, which is critical. So we feel that we had to educate them. And so we put together presentation, and we want to start educating businesses so they understand that it's safety not only for them as business owners, but it's safety for our police officers. So we do have, you're ready? Who can present what is permitted, what is not, what it looks like, and what we're proposing to to educate the public. One other thing before I move on, we've also noticed that when we enforce the signage being removed, some of the business owners have found another way of advertising. They'll use merchandise, basically, to cover their windows. So they're kind of doing two things, advertising still, but it's still violating the signing ordinance, rather signage ordinance. So in this amendment, we're basically saying, hey, we're going to include the merchandise being removed so that the visibility is there for the police as well as the passengers and the safety of the business owners. So Stevens is going to walk you through this, and you will see what we're going to basically, or we're asking council to amend so that we can educate the public and we can make our town cleaner, safer, and looking neat, and being safe.
Council, while this is getting set up, I believe the presentation that's going to be made includes what is already in your existing code. So I want to emphasize to you that before you tonight, the draft ordinance that we're asking you just to allow us to advertise would only address the visual obstructions that Jane referenced with regard to merchandise being located within 5 feet of a window face. So the idea is if I've got a bunch of Campbell soup cans stacked up, we would consider that advertising. And by this clarification that we're trying to do with the ordinance, that would now make that not permitted within 5 feet of that window, or I should say will count towards your window signage total that is authorized. So when this presentation is done, he's going to go over what's already in your code about how it's calculated, but I want to emphasize for your purposes tonight, we're just looking at the visual obstruction component of it, which would be putting things in the window that essentially act as a form of advertising.
But that's why we're here.
Good evening, everyone. Sorry if I make mistakes. It's my first time in front of an audience. So, as Jane said, as a planning department, we reviewed our ordinance and we put together a presentation, which is actually this one. It's a printed copy, and after the ordinance gets amended, we will have more copies available to the public, and we also will go out to the businesses and start presenting basically our ordinance. The presentation itself has the agenda, which basically it talks about what's the law, the key requirement, what counts as a window signs, how to comply, compliant and non-compliant examples, what happened if you violate the law, if you want to avoid a fine, and more information regarding the ordinance itself. So we have captured the most important things of the ordinance, the essence of it, and we have tried to put a presentation together which is clearly readable for the people, but also we have visualized the ordinance itself. So if somebody didn't understand the law, exactly what the law is saying, then they can refer on the images also, and it can be easier for them to understand. Now, as you see the example here, we have put a store frontage as an example, and we have 2 windows and 1 door. The ordinance is referring on the glass surfaces, and it limits the area that you can cover with window signs. It explains why we have this ordinance in place, and the key topics of it is for better safety, more inviting storefronts, more light, more trust, community support, and the success matters. And it explains also that we as a planning department and as a municipality of Norristown, we are not against the businesses. We want them to thrive, and we want them to do it in a secure way, so all the parties are like happy. In the next sheet, the key requirement of the window sign ordinance says no more than 25% of any individual window or transparent door may be covered with window signs. This rule applies to both temporary and permanent signs. And as you see there on the left, we have a compliant examples, and on the right we have non-compliant examples.
And again, that's the current law. What's before you tonight is not changing that.
Right.
That is the current law about the 25%.
Right. We have an explanation about what counts as a window sign in this page. and we have some compliant examples on the right of it. The next sheet discussed about how to comply.
If we can go back one slide, I'm sorry for interrupting, trying to emphasize, this is the one area where we are asking for the change about what constitutes a window sign. We all know that putting a sign on the window is a window sign. The one thing we're trying to address here are the things that you would put in the window area that essentially act as a form of sign, but are, for practical purposes, merchandise, some sort of stocking thing. That's what we're trying to address with this proposed ordinance, the or near a window or glass door. That is what we're referring to. Again, I apologize for interrupting, just trying to emphasize.
As we jump on the next slide, we have a how to comply guide, simple rules, measure each individual window or glass door facing the street, do the math and find the 25% allowance, and keep all individual window and transparent doors at or under 25%. We are giving some tips also because sometimes the window signs cannot be regular shapes. So in that case, like individual letters, logos, or custom designs, the area is still counted, and it gives some tips of how the zoning officer will do the measurement of the sign. Again, we are keep repeating what is compliant and non-compliant examples. So we emphasize that. I want to note something here. All the measurements are done in a professional software program, which means everything there, if somebody goes and counts the actual picture here, everything is compliant and everything is 25%. It's on real scale. This is again another compliant examples. Before we had just a window, now we have again a full storefront, including a glass door and two big glass windows. The next one is what we shouldn't do, a non-compliant example. And as you see, the glass door is covered 72.9%, which is non-compliant with our ordinance, and also the windows are non-compliant. So we are giving tips on how to stay within the law and what our ordinance is saying. Here it says what happened if you violate the law. So you may receive a zoning violation notice, fines may apply, and you are responsible for fixing the violation, which in some cases you might get suggested to remove the exceeded signs. If you want to avoid a fine, follow the steps. Keep all the window signs below 25%, apply for permits when required, and also ask the zoning officer if you are unsure or you need more information about it. And in the last sheet we have our department's details. So everybody get confused or need more information can send us an email or call our office, and for sure the zoning officer or even us, the planning members, will be able to explain the ordinance and what is required. Thank you. I'm sorry.
You're okay. You came in right on time. Thank you. Are there any additional questions from council?
Councilman McMahon.
In some way, I'm not clear on maybe what is a window display and what is signage. If you have like 4 mannequins in your window, can you only have one? You know, if you have, you know, a display of all your baked goods in the window, do you have to drop that down? If some of these stores are quite small, say they need, you know, what happened, you know, can they paint that glass and back shelves up against it and reclaim wall space?
So if I can help out here, two things. One, per the draft language, any merchandise, shelving, screening, fixtures, or other similar physical objects or displays that are located within 5 feet of any first floor glass area shall constitute a visual obstruction and shall be considered a window sign for purposes of this chapter, meaning it would have to be within 5 feet of a first floor window, and then that would count towards the measurement. But this is zoning. So if, let's say I had a business where I needed to display cakes, or I needed to display mannequins, or I needed to do something, you would file a zoning appeal to the zoning hearing board, and you'd ask for relief from the zoning hearing board. And that's perfectly fine. That's what the whole process is there for. It's to allow for a release valve for those unique businesses that need that additional signage. That's what they would go and do. They would get that relief from the zoning hearing board. But what it's trying to do is eliminate the zoning office, whether it's the zoning inspector or the code inspector, to have to make a judgment call as to, well, I think these cans are not okay, but I think this mannequin is okay. What it's trying to do is to eliminate that judgment factor by the zoning office and really put it back on the applicant to say, you know what, if you need to display those cakes, that's great. Here's an application, just file with the zoning hearing board, and you'll probably get you may get your approval from that.
Yeah, because there's the potential to remove a lot of, uniqueness and creativity in some window displays because, a window display is necessarily within 5 feet of a window. And so, but if there's a means for people to specifically work to get something done, I mean, I've made many window displays over my years,
Yeah.
And, there's a whole,
Yeah, and I suspect Jane would encourage people to be like, if you got a great idea, I want you to go to the zoning hearing board, because the idea from a zoning hearing board perspective, where I represent a lot, I sit on my own zoning hearing board where I live, the zoning hearing board has the ability to basically put restrictions in place to make sure what it is that you're saying you're gonna do, you're gonna be obligated to do, and it becomes a mini zoning just for that property. Sorry, Jane.
Can they paint the glass and put shelves up against it then? Like if they need additional space in their store? No, I'm just saying, because it's a real, some of the stores are very small, wall space,
Understood.
shelf space is a real,
I think what we're trying to not lose sight of is the safety issue,
yeah,
which we are really alarmed about.
okay.
If you go
Right, right.
to a lot of these stores right now, you can't see anything.
Yeah,
You don't know what's going on in there.
Yeah.
And that's why the police brought it to our attention.
Okay.
And saying, if you paint it all and the police officer or someone who's passing, maybe you're getting robbed in there. No one can see it.
No,
So we're trying to, the law right now as it is,
Right.
it just says 25% for that very reason.
Right.
To limit it. So
Right.
that's the thought.
Okay.
Council, any other questions? Councilwoman Griffin?
I just wanted to know, so I see like some of the violations like can incur fines and like violation notices, and I see you can keep getting them until it's resolved, but what about people that they resolve it, then they do it again, then they resolve it, then they do it again, like repeat offenders, like what, I guess, would the consequences be?
So I'm happy to help out again, Jane. if you want.
Yes, because that's.
Because that would be our office probably
Yes.
doing it. So keep in mind that we're talking about zoning enforcement. Zoning enforcement is civilly enforced, it is not criminally enforced. What that means is, the way the process works under the municipality's planning code, if Jane's office is made aware or they determine that there's a violation, they have to send a written notice to the property owner. The notice has to contain certain information, and it has to give them a period of time in which to come into compliance. If they come into compliance, and then a month later, they do it again, unfortunately, under the law, we have to send them another notice. There's no way to get around that process. We have to do the same thing over and over again.
Restarts it.
It restarts it over and over again. Now, the only thing I would do in that instance is if we ultimately, so once we send a notice of violation, they have a right to file an appeal to the zoning hearing board, at which time, Mr. McMahon, they could ask for relief from the zoning hearing board as a, hey, can you let me do this as an alternative to the violation? If they decide to do nothing, then we have to go to the magisterial district judge in order to seek civil penalties. It would be at that point, if we had somebody who was a habitual offender, we would probably represent to the MDJ, hey, this property owner, this is the 5th time we've had to do this. can you please impose the maximum amount of civil penalties against them for the violation that occurred? But it's up to the judge as to what they want to say.
Council, any other questions? Seeing none, do I have a motion to advertise ordinance 2602 for the window signage amendment?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Secretary.
Ian McCoy?
Aye.
Dear Robinson?
Aye.
Natalie Colson? Jasmine Griffin? David McMahon? Dustin Queenan?
Aye.
Rashad Bates?
Aye, the ayes have it.
Okay, Council.
Moving on, Resolution 2612, recommend award of contract to AMO Environmental Decisions, Inc. in the amount of $469,000 to provide environmental professional services to implement the Municipality of Norristown's United States Environmental Protection Agency, the US EPA, community-wide Brownfield Assessment Grant Project.
Thank you, Council President. As I might have explained to Council before, in towns like ours, or cities and municipalities like ours that had uses in the past that were industrial and basically contributed to the contamination of properties, it's been a hindrance in having development occur because there's a cost to dealing with contaminants. If you own a property and maybe a developer approached you and wanted to buy it, but wants to have a phase one to make sure they're not buying a contaminated property, that of course that depends on the value that you're selling your property. Now, the federal government has recognized that that is a hindrance to development. So they have made funds available, especially for municipalities like ours that were industrial towns in the past, to shake up, if you will, people who have been afraid of selling their property or having very low value of their properties. So they make these services available through these EPA funds as grants. Instead of the property owner paying for that environmental phase one or phase two, the municipality hires a consultant who will be doing that on their behalf. This makes the property more viable for development. So as a municipality, we've been very fortunate over the years. We've received over 1.5 million. A lot of properties have gone through this process, including 5 Saints, the Main and DeKalb Street property, most of the riverfront properties, quite a number of the properties along Markley Street in the light industrial area. They have that phase one. So if they want to sell their property, if they want their property developed, at least they know, whoever's buying it knows what they're dealing with. And the good news is that by having this type of service already provided, or yeah, I guess it's a service provided, it also helps in opening up the probabilities of getting grants at either federal or state level, or state or even the county, because that's now making the property available for development. It's making it easier. It's removing obstacles, and therefore trying to make it more attractive to developers to come. So right now, we went out on an RFP. I shall read this in the record. Request for proposal was issued. First of all, we received a $500,000 award in September of 2025. And in so doing, we went out on a request for proposal, and just let council know this is for to identify, have an inventory, characterize, rank, and select existing brownfield sites contaminated with hazardous substance within the municipality of Norristown. That was the grant was for. And the grant will be used to develop liability management and remedial strategies that allow for safe and viable monitoring. So we have, of course, to have a consultant who is an expert in this field. There are not too many out there. And as much as that's the case, we put out an RFP on September 29th, 2025, and we had a proposal of a deadline of October 27, 2025. The RFP was advertised in the Times Herald and also on the Penn Bid online bidding system, and it was also sent to over 60 consultants nationwide. During the RFP process, we received 17 questions and we answered those questions. we ended up receiving 11 proposals, which were received by the extended deadline of October 27th, 2025. So I do have up there the, you can have the next slide, Kevin. Yes, just so that you'll see, these are the proposals that were received. If you could go to the next slide, so you have an idea that from, I think there were 11, next slide as well. So we have evaluated the proposals. Could I have the next slide? And the following slide. So the left, you will see the name of the firms and the price for what they would do for this service. And the other, on the right, it actually ranks in order of the price and points, actually. So we evaluated, and the points basically are given based on the criteria we set in the RFP. That's how we evaluate them. It took us a long time to do that. There were a lot of proposals, and we had to go through them thoroughly, and that's actually the end result. The end result was AMO Environmental Decisions. They came up with a very strong project demonstration of EPA grants. In fact, I think they were the only group that had over 9. Most of them, the consultants had maybe 2 or 3, but you need consultants who know this EPA process very well. It's a cumbersome process, and it also requires a lot of hand-holding to property owners who are usually nervous about having the federal government come on the land to do. So you do need experts who are able to basically convince them that this is a good thing to do, and it's not going to put them in a negative light. So this group has also had prior experience in Norristown. They're the ones who have done a lot of the work that I just mentioned before. Their cost, of course, is at $469,000. Their proposals, or rather, they provided references. We checked them out. They all came positive. And we basically said that we're recommending AMO Environmental Decisions to be awarded this grant. And we're asking council to approve this grant tonight so that we can begin work as soon as possible.
Council, do I have any questions? Do we have any questions? Excuse me. Councilwoman Colson.
Do we know, or you might have already said this, how many brownfield sites we are looking to target with this, or?
Good question. I actually wrote it down. So we're looking to do at least 20 phase 1s and about 10 phase 2s.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good for that price.
Thank you.
I just had a question on the point scoring process. If I remember correctly from the notes, that AMO also was involved previously in previous years with our Brownsfield's work, and potentially as well as in the grant process to get this far. Just wanted to understand a little bit more about the point system, how it was created, and what things was it measuring?
It's actually the RFP that we have attached in your package. It shows each criteria and how many points we assign to that criteria. So it includes things like the personnel in your firm, who are they, do they have experience? They have to be engineers, they have to have experience in EPA. You can all be engineers, but it does not mean you have experience in EPA per se. So that's the type of criteria we look at. And we also check the references. We just don't accept the word for it. And when we check the references and it checks out, you get a certain amount of points. That's how you add up the points. That's what we do in evaluating them.
Thank you.
Council, any other questions? Councilwoman Griffin.
Not a question. I just want to say thank you for showing the proposals the way you did, like visualize. That was amazing to see, especially because we always ask to see those. So thank you for showing that in that way, and so that the public can see it as well. It's really appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council, any other questions? Councilman McMahon.
As far as the site assessments go, how are sites chosen? Is it a voluntary thing of property owners? Does the municipality play a role in sort of like seeking out, certain areas?
So that's a really good question because remember, most property owners are not too keen on folk coming on their land, but then we have development strategies. We know areas that we want to develop. For instance, the riverfront. We've been wanting to develop for that forever. We know the properties along the limited industrial district. We know there are lots of properties that have just been sitting idle. So it's a mixture, but mostly it's us contributing based on our studies and analysis. So as we engage the consultant, we say, look, these are the areas, this is our vision, these are the areas we've had developers in the past ask about it and walk away when they would think it's a little shaky. But here is an opportunity that we can basically unlock for developers.
Council, any other questions? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2612 to recommend the award of contract to AMO Environmental Decisions Incorporated for the amount of $469,000 to provide environmental professional services to implement the USPA Community-Wide Brownfield Assessment Grant Project?
So moved.
Madam Secretary.
William McCoy.
Aye.
Deidre Robinson. Aye. Natalie Colson. Jasmine Griffin. Aye. David McMahon. Aye. Dustin Queenan.
Aye.
Rashad Bates.
Aye, the ayes have it. Moving on, ordinance 26-03, requesting authorization to advertise ordinance 26-03 for smoke and vape shops amendment.
Thank you, Council President. Yes, I may need some water. It's a lot of talking. No, I'm sorry. I should have thought of having some water before. Before you, Council, we are requesting authorization to advertise ordinance 26-03 for smoke and vape shops. We've received a lot of pushback from the community, basically saying there are too many of these shops that are just appearing everywhere. And as the ordinance is right now, they are permitted in a lot of the commercial districts. We did have a conversation with council, some council members, some of you are new, and the council members did agree at that point. They said, yeah, there's too much of these vape shops, we need to push back. We need to have a healthy mix of businesses in our commercial districts so that it's not all one type of business. And I see some of you nodding because you have let me know that's the case. So that being the case, we need to do something about it and make it a little, I have to choose my words carefully, thank you so much. We have to make it just a little more streamlined, if you will, so that we just don't have things popping up everywhere. So in that case, we're recommending council to just permit this use in the commercial retail district. And even so, it is to be done by conditional use, meaning you council members will be the ones to make the decision whether this use can be allowed in that commercial retail district. So they would become before you, it would be advertised like we advertise in the zoning and all, but you'd be the ones making that decision, not the zoning officer. Right now, as a zoning officer, if they come in some of these districts, I have no choice but to say, okay, go ahead and do it. But of course, we've gotten feedback. Not everyone is happy about it.
Council, any questions? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve ordinance 2603 requesting authorization to advertise ordinance 2603 for smoke and vape shop amendment?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Secretary.
William McCoy.
Aye.
Deidre Robinson. Aye. Natalie Colson. Jasmine Griffin. Aye. David McMahon. Aye. Dustin Queenan.
Aye.
Rashad Bates.
Aye, the ayes have it.
Thank you.
Resolution 2613, recommend award of contract to Merje?
Merje.
Okay, Merje, in the amount of $69,810 to develop a comprehensive wayfinding signage and gateway improvements master plan and implementation study.
Thank you. Council members, if you recall during the budget season, we talked about this. The last time we had the wayfinding system done in the municipality was in 2004. We're long overdue. There's a lot that has happened since we implemented that wayfinding system. A lot of the we've experienced growth, redevelopment. We've also experienced major changes in developments, trail expansions, parking facilities, civic investments have also increased, and the complexity of navigation is necessary for us to now upgrade it and make it not only inviting, but logistically make sense. So this is both for motorists and as well as pedestrians. In order for us to receive proposals for this, we went out on a request for proposal. And we went out on a request for proposal on August 21st, 2025 for a consultant to, because basically a science, to help us the wayfinding, signage and gateway improvements master plan. As you'll recall, I did say during the budget system that we would have it planned, but we'll also try to do the first phase so that we just don't have a plan there that sits on, on the shelf and not being implemented. So we want to be able to get this plan in place, and we have some money that's set aside, of course, in capital improvement so that we can at least start the first phase. So we were fortunate to receive 7 proposals. They were actually very interesting proposals, and Merje emerged right on top. They're very interesting. These are the firms that responded. If you could have the next slide. And the next one, please. And the next one. There we go again. We have proposals in terms of price, and we also have proposals in ranking order according to the criteria that we evaluated them for. Now, with professional services, unlike construction, you don't have to give it to the lowest bidder because this is a professional service. It's how best do they meet the request for proposals that you put out there, because you're dealing with professionalism and you're dealing with creativity. Sometimes it's difficult to measure creativity, but once you read their proposals and you see how close the consultant understood your ask, what are you looking for? That's how you measure to see if they're going to deliver what it is that you want to do. Again, we look closely to see who are the personnel that they're recommending to work with us. We look to see what other cities have they done, what does it look like? And the proposals that we put in your package, you can see that this particular group has actually done over 200 cities. Extremely impressive. And I hadn't come across them before, but I'm very familiar with their work, didn't know it was them, and I'm pleased to say they came in actually at a very good price. We were actually expecting a little higher than that, so we're recommending council to approve this so we can move ahead with this, our new wayfinding. It's a branding system, so to speak. The good work they've done all over I'm sure some of you are aware of some of them. And as I said, in your package, you'll see many more examples. So we're requesting if you could award this so we can get to the good work of changing our look in town.
Council, any questions? Councilwoman Robinson?
Not a question, but just a comment. I wanted to say thank you for bringing this forward. I know during the budget season, I in particular give you a hard time about this process because I don't want to see another study on the shelf, but I wanted to see action and in a very short amount of time. It's very nice to see that you've moved forward, been able to identify some actionable partners, and it does look like that movement is happening. So much appreciated from my end and excited about the work.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Jay and I do have one or maybe two. So I did look at wayfinding. They're a great company from what I've read about. So I noticed there were 6 locations that they were going to be doing the wayfinding signs. How does that translate to how many signs they'll actually make for us? Is there a limit to that?
It depends on the budget we have.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And I noticed one was the the bike trail, which is
Yes.
welcome to Norristown, they can do that and the zoo one, like at the same, oh, awesome, all right,
Yes.
thank you.
So we will bring you progress reports so that you'll know where we are. So we don't want to be in a situation where we might be stuck and then we have these beautiful pictures, we're not moving along. We'll definitely let you know where we are. And of course, you as a council and community, you'll be involved. They're not doing it on their own. They're going to make sure that you're involved in the process.
Thank you. Council, any other questions? Seeing none, do I have a motion to recommend award of contract to Merje in the amount of $69,810 to develop a comprehensive wayfinding signage gateway improvement master plans and implementation study?
So moved.
Madam Secretary.
William McCoy? Aye. Vera Robinson? Aye. Natalie Colson? Jasmine Griffin? Aye. David McMahon? Aye. Dustin Queenan?
Aye.
Todd Davis.
Aye, the ayes have it.
Thank you.
All right, and then moving on to Resolution 2614, recommend award of contract to Simone Collins Landscape Architecture in the amount of $96,200 to provide professional service to implement the municipality of Norristown's Park Master Plan.
Thank you, Council President. Again, I come before you asking you to award this contract to our very own Simone Collins. They have their office in Norristown, a very experienced firm. I've actually been familiar with this firm for the last 37 years. We've worked in many other capacities. They've done work for the county. They've done work for private industry as well. But I think the great thing I can say about them is that they believe in Norristown that much, so they brought basically their offices, the headquarters in Norristown, right across Lafayette Street. Not too many firms. I mean, I would have to say the solicitor's office also moved into Norristown, so they really live in Norristown. We believe in consultants who believe in Norristown, and they'll see Norristown moving forward. Anyway, as you might be familiar with Simone Collins, because they are the ones who did the master plan for the Roosevelt Field, if you recall, where we had received some funding from the state, and they did that whole master plan. They're very familiar with the community. They're outward looking as well. As I said, they believe in Norristown. Not only that, they're more than qualified. We went out on an RFP, request for proposals, on August 21st. And they were advertised in the Times Herald, Penn Bid, as well as the website. We received questions that we responded to as we were required to. We then received 6 proposals. The deadline of these proposals was September 22nd, 2025. We evaluated, and on the screen again, you do have the firms that responded. Those are the first 3 firms, the next 3 firms, and then we ranked them in price order as well as in rank order according to the criteria that we had set aside, and they emerged as the lead consultant for this grant. One other strength I have to say about this firm is their involvement in community activity as well. So they know the municipality well enough, and they do make sure that they know what's going on. Not only that, they have also provided us with many hints and not hints, but rather recommendations on grants that are out there. So they're always looking out to see how can we fund these improvements that they're proposing. So it's not only coming from our general fund, but where else can we get this money to make our projects work? So as I said, the greatest thing they had was their grasp of the community engagement as well. They're very good at that. They have provided us a proposal for $93,870, and they are very familiar with the Norristown Park system and also with the Montgomery County Trail system as well. So we recommend them highly.
Council, any questions? Seeing none, okay. Seeing none, do I have a motion to recommend the award of contract to Simone Collins Landscape Architecture in the amount of $96,200 to provide professional service to implement the municipality of Norristown's master plan?
So moved.
Madam Secretary.
William McCoy? Aye. Vera Robinson? Aye. Natalie Colson? Aye. Jasmine Griffin? Aye. David McMahon? Aye. Justin Queenan.
Aye.
Rashad Davis.
Aye, the ayes have it.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Jane.
Long night for you, Jane, huh?
I know, collapse now.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.